where you help people the most is dealing with that estate planning, because most people are like, oh, estate planning is just for the wealthy. Well, we really are addressing the average middle class America and how they, transfer those assets to their loved ones and how they approach that.
Hi, I'm Terrell Turner, the host of the Business Talk Library, and today I have another great guest on. Now, as all of you know, my background is accounting and finance, and I work with small business owners, helping them navigate that side of their business. So it's always a pleasure when I have other finance and accounting professionals on that can share a perspective that you may not hear from me, and also to hear about what they're doing in their business, what they've been able to accomplish for their clients. So I'm excited to welcome to the show Keith Youngren. Welcome to the show, Keith.
Great, thank you. I appreciate having me on, and hope to share my story.
Absolutely. Now, before we jump into your business, talking about your practice and talking about the Financial Money Coach, tell us a little bit about your background before launching Financial Money Coach.
Well, I've been a CPA for over 30 years. And I've had a tax practice in Southern California, both in West Los Angeles area and also Santa Barbara. And back in 1994, for family reasons, we decided to relocate from Southern California to Austin, Texas, where I currently practice. I sold my business at that time to my partner, and then reestablished my CPA tax practice here in Austin, Texas. And about 20 years ago, I decided, okay, let's not only do tax and tax planning, but also move over to the financial services industry, advising, financial planning, things of that nature. And so I've been doing that for quite a few years. In about 10 years, I officially launched Financial Money Coach, where we help coach both businesses and individuals, other tax professionals, other financial advisors to what we do, what I call foundational planning and some holistic tax planning strategies.
Awesome. Now, first, I want to say, congratulations, because anyone who's been in business for 30 plus years, I mean, that says a lot to be successfully and profitably in business for 30 plus years. That is a huge congratulations to you for that.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
And I think especially now with, so many businesses, you hear the statistics about, unfortunately, most businesses that start don't survive, past year 5. So to make it that long, I mean, it says a lot about, the journey that you've been on. And so one of the things I'm curious about is, as a, with a CPA background, I mean, when you started looking, around the angle that you guys were going with Financial Money Coach, what was it about that made that side interesting to say, maybe we should do that too?
Well, when you're dealing with taxes, you have some limitations related to it. I mean, you can do some tax planning, but for a lot of clientele, there's not a tremendous amount of things that can be done, but to implement related to it. When you're dealing with the financial advising, financial planning, you're doing a little bit more for your clients and dealing with the business owners and high level individuals with large net worths and everything. So we can do a lot more things for them than the average tax client.
Mm-hmm. Now, one of the things that I talk to people about is, when it comes down to, the finance and the accounting side of whether it's your business or just your life in general, is that, for people who only talk to their accountant, let's say once a year, when it's time to get their taxes done. Now, what I've told them is that if that's the only time you're talking to your accountant, you're probably not going to get the best planning. You're probably not going to get the best proactive solutions for your financial situation. I'm curious as to what your thoughts are on that.
Well, obviously, if you're only talking to your CPA tax professional once per year, you're basically just having something historically done for you. You're not really planning ahead for how you can save tax dollars and more importantly, how you can create greater financial comfort for yourself through the proper planning aspects for yourself. So it's important to do that planning and be proactive related to one's both tax and financial situation.
Gotcha. So when it comes down to your clients, like on average, like how often do you meet with your clients throughout the year?
Well, I mean, it depends on if we're talking about individuals or businesses. Business, obviously, there's a little bit more interaction. There's a lot more things that can be done for the clients from a business perspective. So the advice is necessary. Individuals, we try to, touch base with them 2 or 3, possibly 4 times per year also. It just depends on what their overall needs are and how they want to approach their both financial situation and their tax situation. When we're dealing with finances, there's more, discussion and things that they could be doing, because when we're doing things like I mentioned, we're doing foundational planning, and that involves really 4 key areas. And the number one area that we actually address first is debt elimination. And we got a debt crisis in this country, not only the government, but individually, we've got so many people in debt. So we actually come up with strategies utilizing financial vehicles to actually get people out of debt in a third to half the time that they would normally be in debt. So it can be a significant, and it's utilizing the exact same resources they currently have. We're not really changing their lives, but we're really redirecting how they're operating their financial lives. The other area we deal with is estate planning, and this is involving, putting legal documents in place like trusts, wills, both financial and medical directives and everything. So you actually are preparing yourself for life, not only currently, but well into the future and into your retirement years. We also try to show people how do you develop a cash flow analysis for yourself so you can see where you're at today, but then also where is it going to take you into your retirement years, and how do you guarantee your income going into those 65 and plus years for yourself. And then the other area that a lot of people really don't address at all, or they sort of put that on the table, is dealing with long-term care, because that is potentially the greatest derailment of your retirement, dollars in the future. If you look at a married couple at age 65, probably 70%, 75% are going to be utilizing long-term care in some fashion, and that could be worth, $250,000 out of their estate or their financial situation. And so we try to protect them through utilizing the proper trust vehicles and the elimination of probate costs and things of that nature. So we've wrapped out all that together in this foundational planning aspect. And we not only do that for our existing clients, for both business and individuals, but we also, as I mentioned, we're helping other tax professionals putting this into their practice so they can create a revenue stream for themselves. And we also financial advisors, people in that financial industry.
Mm-hmm. Now, with all those amazing services, I mean, because as say the financial services industry, I mean, there's so many different angles that you can take. Was there some type of personal event or something that triggered you to say, hey, you know what, these are the critical areas where we wanted to focus on helping people?
Well, I think that the biggest area, eliminating one's debt, that's really important, because if you have debt and you're taking that into your retirement years, you're potentially derailing your retirement. And so we really take strategic approaches to that. But I think that where you help people the most is dealing with that estate planning, because most people are like, oh, estate planning is just for the wealthy. Well, we really are addressing the average middle class America and how they, transfer those assets to their loved ones and how they approach that. But now, how do you also save dollars because if you have a moderate estate, $300,000, $500,000, maybe $1 million, you may not have gone through that estate planning process, and you really need to, or most individuals should, because what happens if how do you protect your assets? How do you, avoid a lot of the costs related to it? So when you're saving people dollars and helping them into those retirement years, that makes a lot of sense. And, it gives a lot of satisfaction that you're helping people out that normally aren't getting the help. They're sort of in that little area where they've been forgotten by the financial industry.
No, I think that makes a lot of sense because I do think that, that the getting out of debt piece, I think sometimes people underestimate the value and the level of opportunity that opens up for you. I know that was one of the things that my wife and I, when we got married, where we really spent maybe like the first year and a half of, paying off any debt that we had other than our home. And I think, it has opened up a lot. It's definitely reduced a lot of stress to where it definitely opens you up. So I think the work you guys are doing there is great because that is a great place to start. So, when it comes down to people working with you, how does that, how does that relationship usually work out? I mean, how do people usually get in touch with you, or how does the relationship usually start?
Well, I mean, we do work with people all across the country. So we actually are doing a lot of webinar presentations on a regular basis, weekly basis, on a variety of these topics. We address these different facts. So we're doing a little bit of marketing through Facebook, LinkedIn, the various social medias. A lot of things that we do is on a referral basis, because when we're helping people out and showing them how to protect their assets, how to save dollars going to the future, they're more than willing to refer their family, friends, business associates, because if we can help them out, we can help these other people out at the same time.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, what I'm curious about is, with helping people, make decisions today that are going to be a huge, huge benefit for them in the future. Do you ever run into situations where it takes some clients or some people some time to really grasp the value of, hey, you're making a decision in the short term, you may not see this tremendous benefit, but it's going to benefit you in the long run. Do you ever run into situations where it takes people a little bit of time to really grasp that?
Oh, absolutely. Whenever you're dealing with some type of a financial vehicle to help you out, yeah, I would say that the older you get, the more you're in tune to needing to do some of this planning aspect. But if somebody were to start out in their 20s and 30s, I mean, the results are dramatic for just a small amount of setting aside dollars related to it in the right type of vehicle. Now they can assure themselves of a very comfortable retirement and making sure they've got all the different planning aspects in place. When you start later in life, then you have less time to put those things into place, and the results are not quite as dramatic. But there's always, the education process for showing people what can be done and how they should be approaching things. And sometimes it's just putting a piece or two in place and then adding to it as you go along later on in life. And there's definitely ways to set one up to take advantage of those situations.
Okay, awesome, awesome. So one of the things I'm curious about, it's one of those amazing things when you provide a service that, you provide value, and it's great that you do that. I'm curious as to, what was that journey like for you, pretty much building the business side on, I guess you say, the administrative side of putting the pieces in place to be able to build up the business around the financial money coach. What was that part of the process like for you?
Well, I mean, when I started my CPA practice life, quite a few years ago, a lot of it became having some self-discipline and focus in what I'm doing. A lot of what I've done has, built up my overall client base based upon referrals. And so that's been a tremendous aspect of building clientele, setting up strategic partnerships for yourself where you're working with other financial professionals that they see what you're doing, you're helping them out in their practice. So it's a win-win situation for everybody. And that helps build up both sides of the equation and benefits all of us.
Awesome. So, and when it comes down to, I guess they say that administrative side, of like building those relationships and those, one of the connections that we had is through Tax Connection, and I met with the team there, and they mentioned, hey, Keith Youngren is a guy you should definitely talk to. So, how has Tax Connection kind of played a role in some of the way you've approached your business?
Well, I mean, they're a great vehicle for contacting other tax professionals and people that are just have opted into their database and everything. So it's been a tremendous way to show people what we're doing with Financial Money Coach, dealing with the trust aspect of things, the estate planning, and the overall tax planning that we do from our firm at Financial Money Coach.
Okay, awesome. So now if people are interested in finding out a little bit more about, the type of work you do and doing business with you, how can they find you guys, whether that's, online or on social media or your locations?
Well, I'm located in Austin, Texas, and I've been here for the last 25, 26 years. And so we're have active contact. Anybody can contact us by Keith at financialmoneycoach.com. We're also on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. So we have the ability to have contact from those aspects, or they can simply pick up the phone and call us. And our phone number here at 512-343-2488, and we're willing to talk to anybody that is interested in exploring some of this foundational planning aspect of things, and any tax professionals, financial advisors who are interested in putting this in place. As I mentioned, we help those to help actually create a revenue stream for themselves where they can help others across the country.
Awesome. Well, before we wrap up, one question I like to ask every guest that comes on to me, you think about, your expertise, and you think about, your journey in building out your business, what's two pieces of advice that you would share with other business owners?
Well, you have to have a devotion and enjoy what you do and helping other people. Because if you help other people, it's all going to come back to yourself in some fashion. But there's a lot of self-discipline in being able to have your own business, be an entrepreneur, and you have to focus and don't spread yourself too thin, because otherwise you're not really doing the best for your clients and the people that you work with.
Awesome. Well, Keith, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure, learning a little bit more about, your journey and your firm and the great work that you guys do over at Financial Money Coach. So it's been a pleasure having you on, Keith.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate you having me on, and all the best to you.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Finance and Accounting Show. If you like what you heard, don't be selfish. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and then share this with a friend, because you know a business owner that could definitely use this insight. So be sure to hit that subscribe button, share it with a friend, and turn on the notification bell so you get all the updates when we release a new episode.